So that with that great news, of course, we've started to participate with you in a phase 3 trial that you're performing now related to rilonacept called the Rhapsody Trial.
Exactly.
And so that's tell us a little bit about that. That's very interesting, and we're happy to be able to participate in that trial as well.
We really appreciate you being a part of this, and this is a global trial, and part of this is to really bring rilonacept around the world in terms of the trial.
Yes.
As a potential treatment alternative, and importantly to steroids. And as we were talking about the data from the phase 2 trial, I think the most important data are the fact that 11 out of the 13 patients that were on corticosteroids were actually able to come off of their steroids entirely, and the remaining 2 tapered off. So we used that paradigm as part of the design of Rhapsody. So Rhapsody is a double-blind, placebo-controlled, pivotal phase 3 program, and it's a minimum of 50 patients that will enter the trial. And it has 2 cycles of the trial, if you will, 2 phases. The first part is a single-blind run-in period where patients are treated with rilonacept on top of their standard of care medications, and then those are tapered and withdrawn so that patients can demonstrate control on monotherapy rilonacept, and that's very important.
Yes.
And then in the second phase of the trial, they enter this randomized withdrawal period. And so in that period, what happens is patients are either continued on rilonacept or they're switched to placebo. Now, the way these randomized withdrawal trials work, it's a great system, if you will, in a rare disease. And that's because what it does is it takes patients who have demonstrated to respond to therapy, and then when they're randomized and the drug washes off, we can watch the disease start to come back. And whereas what we expect is continued disease control if they stay on the active drug. But then what happens is patients are rescued and they can go back on back to open. Right. And so that's why the primary endpoint's time to first recurrence, but we have secondary endpoints that talk about sustained clinical response. And this is running in the U.S., and we really appreciate your involvement in the trial. It's in Italy, Australia, and Israel.
Well, that's really wonderful. Well, John, thank you so much for your time and explaining to us a little bit about this challenging disease process that I think most cardiologists wrestle with from time to time, but don't really have a great tool aside from the things that you already mentioned to treat it. And we're certainly hopeful that we continue to see the fantastic results that you've been seeing with rilonacept in the early trials.
Well, thank you so much. We really hope to improve patient outcomes and quality of life. So
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it.